We already done 2 to 3 unit before that. Now start from 4 and 5 unit today. So this unit is all about the programming language, what type of operation can be done, and what type of the data types they can use. We already know, we are just knowing about any programming language which we use in a near future in our curriculum also and our daily kind of programming. So there are many instructions we proceed through the our programming languages. So we decide to know which type of operator are using in which languages and what kind of data type can we use in our programming languages. So just know about what are these data types. So in general, we can understand about the data type like we had a operation like we start to count or we start to add any number in our just programming. So we start a operation like sum equal to a plus b, but the programming language only understand boolean type of which is true or false. So that we prefer some kind of these data type they define our programming structure to compiler and all the about the programming features. So the a plus b operation can be done through the data types. There are many types of data types in our programming language, like integer. We all know about the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. We all know about negative numbers. We all know about the point number like floating number. There are characters. There are many other kind of data types we use in our programming language. Like we use weekdays, like Sunday, Monday. So we describe the all 7 days in a single days. That also the structured data type. So just knowing that we use this data type for better use to our programming, then they complete the structure, they complete the operation very easily and very efficient manner. So that we learn about the type equivalence, checking and converges, array structure and unions. Array structure unions, these are the data types. These are the secondary data types. We use primitive data types, we use structured data types. So array structure union are the structured data types, and the integer, float, number, boolean, these are the character. These all are the primary data type. They also known as a primitive data type. So we start this lesson now. After this, we can understand the type equivalence. Means when we use this type of conversion, these type of data types, we learn about the how can this possible and how we can check is this data type is good for that, is this data type good for our operation, is this data type for our object. Like we had a class, we had a employee, we want to calculate the employee salary, the employee age. So we use a structured data types, then we use structure. We also use union kind of that structure which needs some less memory, but there are much differences between array structure and union. So that we learn about that. All these are the topics we covered in this continuous session. So after this unit, we learn about the concept of type equivalence, type checking, and type conversion. Explain the concept of array. You all maybe know about the array. Array is a structured data type which we use. Like we have many input values, so we use array. So firstly, we start from type equivalence. Type equivalence refers to the relationship between two types in programming language. We just knowing about which programming language use this type of conversion equivalence and other languages what use. So primary, we decide to know in our programming language we can include this type of structure, this type of union, and differ about which languages are using or not. There are C++ using some kind of these data types, these structured data types. Some of PHP, Perl, other languages are not just using, but they are elaborating in very good manner. So when we start to make a programming language, so that we know which kind of data type we can include in our programming language, two type are said to be equivalent if they have same representation. Like we only equivalent some kind of these when they represent same type of data. Like we use numbers, so we use data type integer. We use character, when we use character we can use string. So other differences, just knowing to know that the same representation data can be included in equivalence manner, they are equal in some kind of manner, then we can equivalent them, meaning they can be used interchangeably in a program without causing any error and unexpected behavior. Type of equivalence, there are different type of equivalence such as structural equivalence, name equivalence, and duck typing. We just knowing about that all these terms. Structural equivalence is type of equivalence that is determined based on the structure of two or more entities, such as program, data structure, or algorithm. Just know about the when we start this programming language, we start any kind of coding, we start any type of structuring, we kind of any designing, we start our footprint, our step, the process we can start, so that we just knowing that the kind of when we use in C language, when use these data type in C++ languages, so we knowing that this type of operation is used in C languages like this, and we can change this with effect of equivalence in C++. So when we equal these kind of operation in one language to another language, these terms are called structured equivalence, and we follow these kind of steps. Like many entities in a program we use, but C++ is behave another type. So just knowing, just need to know what kind of differences, what kind of same representation they make to use in different languages. We not knowing this time is we start to uh, code in C. No, we need to know. We start any programming language we use which is using this type of data type. The equivalence between two different code fragment or program that perform the same function of task but have different syntactical. We also learned in previous session what is syntax and what is semantic. So there are representation is different in any language, but the operation are same kind of. So we just to understand that structural equivalence is often used in program analysis, optimization, and refactoring. Means we can analyze this program by checking the equivalence. I Rekha Jain, I know, but the UGC guideline just instruct us to only English manner. After this lecture, we have a discussion type of time. Then I will elaborate all these things in a short manner in Hindi. So I just using simple kind of language. Just these are the 30 part, theoretical part. So we just inputting our thought about any programming language. So don't mind it. It is just knowing that what programming languages are following terms. So just listen me. Two data types are considered structurally equivalent if just inputting any data types. I only said that there are one operation which is sum, and we want to calculate a plus b in that type of sum. So we just defining a and b, what type of data type we use number, then we define that it is a integer data type. When we inputting any kind of character, that is character data type. So equivalence define how can we make that. This is simple. There is no problem, Jair. We will not differ from UGC. You can contact them directly. There is UGC portal on your website, on Google, so you can contact them. Okay, no problem. For example, two structure in C and C++ with the same number and type of member in the same order are considered structurally equivalent. So I just confirm that there are many type of languages. There are many type of programming language we use, but there are some kind of differences in between them. But we transform our programming from one language to another, so that we confirm that these type of data are equivalent or not. So there are structure used in C++ and C at the same manner. Just reading about that, there are not so inputting your instructions. These are the normalizations, these are the rules we follow in our languages. So these are the theoretical part about that. Name equivalence is another type of type equivalence that compare the name of two data types. Two data types means any integer, character, float data type. There are structured data type, there are Boolean data type. So we can maintain them one language to another language, some that manner that can be fruitful. Two data types are considered name equivalent if they have the same name. Like we start a code and we use integer to our sum. So sum is an integer part. When we calculate a plus b, then the value of a plus b also in number format, not in any decimal format, any Boolean format, so that we confirm about that data type, it is same name or not. Name equivalence is typically used in programming language that allow for aliasing or type define. Alias means there are same kind of another part we can replace from that. So alias means we have two names, we can use this for that, we can use this for another. So such alias we can confirm it, we can define it with the type define keyword, where different name can refer to the same underlying type. Type cohesion is the automatic conversion of one data type to another data type. This is the name. Cohesion means this automatically convert the data type from one data type to another data type. Type cohesion can be implicit and explicit. Implicit means it is done through the compile time. It is explicit when it is done after the compilation. Compilation means we write a code in our any kind of language, C, C++, and when we compile it with the any software which can translate this code to in machine language code. So this is type of implicit type. Explicit type means when we compile that code and after that this code is generated in another code and use any other software like interpreter and loader and linker, that part is explicit. These type of language follow like PHPs follow explicit part, implicit part is followed by C and C++ languages. So that we confirm many languages are using in this kind of environment, but we want to know the programming languages why use this type of conversation, because we input from user side and we need to output that problem. But there are differences. When we use in C++, there are some boundaries. When we use in C, there are some boundaries. When we use that type code in Java, so we can make a code like that, we can compile in any type of language, so that they confirm the conversion is part of process is to be easy. Type cohesion can also occur in a programming language with type flexibility, where the type system is less strict and allow for some more implicit conversation. Type checking. Type checking also defined in two types, a static and dynamic type. So there are always knowing word static and dynamic. Static means when we run the code, that proposal is accepted. But when we type that code, we run that code. After that, many changes occur. Means this is the dynamic changing. One of the key distinction between strongly and weakly typed languages is the degree to which type of distinguish from one another. The static typing in programming language, the object type. Object type means we use any type of class. There are some using word object. Object is none other than we use there are class, there are some student in a class. So when we had a problem regarding any class, we want to define, there are many class in a program like BCA, BBA, BCom. So when we use this type of class, we start a object like student. There is a object. There is a subject kind of object. There is classroom type of object. There are many subjects in that part that are the object. So object definition may be distinguished, means they are differ from one another. Static typing in programming language, object type is established during compilation. So that means when we run that program, so that time any changes is called as static typing. It cannot be changed. Attempting to change a variable types, variable means the value of that object, that data type can be changed on runtime. But in static manner, there is no changes in runtime. There is compiling. The value of that data type is fixed all during the compilation part. So data type refer to the nature of the value that a data element possesses, such a string. There are new name is string. String means we use our name in a data type. So when we type my name in as in the input part, where is the value of, just a second. I know I'm watching the TV that time, but power is has gone, so I don't know I can mute or not. So data type refer the nature of value that a data element possesses, such as string, integer, character, and boolean. We all know character means when we use my name A in a different manner, J in a different manner, A in a different manner. This type of data type is called character data type. When we use string, string means all the keywords, all the characters in a single, like I conclude the as a in a single word. So this is called a string. Here there is integer. Integer means the number have positive value and negative value, and limit are some boundaries. We learn from the programming language C. C includes some kind of integer value from negative 128 to positive 128, like 65365 to negative 6535. So the value criteria defined by integer, there are floating number, we use decimal number in our operations, like we use programming language, there are input is in point number. So the point number are called floating number. Type checking is a critical aspect of programming that ensures that values are assigned the correct type, minimizing errors during program execution. Type checking occur either at runtime, means when we check the error, when we check the error in our code, so this called as a type checking. The type checking means the problem is checked in the compilation time or runtime. Compilation time means when just write a code and we compile it with the help of compiler. Compiler is a software. In C programming, we use Turbo C. In Java, we use interpreter. So these are the compilation. And the compilation process is complete by a compiler. Compiler is a software. Software is translating that code in many manners, like object code, source code, machine code. So these processes checking the error. When we check the error in compile time, so we can correct that time. But when we check the error in runtime, so we can confirm it after compilation or runtime. So there are type checking is many manners. It is done like static and dynamic. Static means it is done during the compilation time, and dynamic means it is done during the runtime. Just read about that. We just knowing what the principles are followed in a programming language, so we can just knowing the data types, how the data types is processed, how the data types is checked, the error messages, if any error made by users, so that we can confirm in runtime, so we know late about the checking. So these are the terms, just knowing in our programming languages. These are the two types, statical type languages and dynamic. So also they describe static programming language perform type checking during the compilation process. Already I said these the process of static programming During the compilations, the source code means we write that code is called a source code, and it's transport in machine code. Machine code means the code that is accessed through the compilation part is understood by the machine, by the computer. When we input our data in our language and computer just understand in Boolean like 0 and 1, so these processes is part of compilation. Programming languages, there are different programming languages which perform different kind of compilation and the runtime problems. So programming language such as Java, C, C++, C Sharp, Scala, Kotlin, Fortran, Go, Pascal, there are many languages. They use different kind of structure, different kind of data types. So just we knowing that which programming language use that, which programming, how differ from that. So just knowing what data type are performing their task, what data type is performing not on in different languages, what the different types we use in C and C++. When just we start learning C, so you can confirm, sir, remind me about data types. So these the part of any languages. When we learn in future C, C++, Java, Python, Perl, PHP, so just when read about this instruction, oh, this is already part of any programming languages. It is mandatory for programmer to explicitly declare the data type of each variable during its declaration. Declaration means when we write the code and we also declare that, like I use number in a in our code. So I define that number. It is integer, it is float, it is string. We can add that number with our definition, or that definition define the declaration part. However, some languages incorporate a feature called type inference. Dynamically typed languages. So static type of languages checking the error, correcting the error in compile time, but dynamic type languages uh, check the code in the dynamic manner, means execution time. When we convert that code from compile source code to machine code, but in between the compilation and runtime part is different. Compilation is just creating a object code, and after that object code is also translate into a executable code. So that part is called execution part, or that part also a runtime part. This means that variables are checked against type only when the programming executing. Some example of programming languages that belong to this category are Python, JavaScript, Lisp, PHP, just LISP, just Ruby, Perl, Lua, and TCL. There are many languages using the dynamically typed languages. There are some languages follow static type languages. We also already learned C, C++. These the languages perform at the compile time. But some different languages are check the errors, they check the languages at the dynamic time, means runtime. There is no requirement to explicitly state the data type. Or I also, implicit means at the compile time, explicit means at the dynamic time, at the runtime. State the data type during variable declaration. The languages system is able to detect the type of variable at that runtime. There are some differences: statically typed languages and dynamically typed languages. Static means type checking is completed at compile time. Dynamic means that checking at the runtime. These static type are declaration is usually required at the declaration time, but there is no requirement of that. Error are detected earlier, means when we compile we know where is the error, but in the dynamic way, when we compile and we run that program, we can find the error or that time. LISP is also a programming language. These all the example are programming language, or we follow the principles which programming language can perform. According that principle, we not learning any kind of language that time, but we want to understand which languages are different from which type of principles. So we just learn about principles of that languages. Optimized code means when we write a code in different manner. There are many lengthy code in different kind of languages. C++ are not just a simple kind of library, so they use large number of instructions. But in Python there are libraries strong, so we use less keyword, less type of data type, less in just limited type of instruction. So these are the optimized code, means the very minimum code they define your program, your software, and these languages define. C++ are using in programming, like we code for a any software like operating system. So operating system is a different part, but we start writing code for a website. So website code handle many part. There are many images, there are many videos, there are many instructions, there are many buttons. So we use optimized code. Optimized code mean they have less memory, they use less memory, they run in minimum memory. So these code are called optimized code. So there are some type of optimization, like when write a code, we know the error in very early stage, so we can correct them that time. But when we compile that code, we run that code, after that we know there is a much error, so this part is correct after runtime. So that mean we change all the kind of our structured manner. So there are different another part of data types which called is a array data types. If anybody know about array, I just confirm, but in our daily life there are many. I have 10 type of subject, I have 10 numbers, I just input Ajay. Ajay name have 10 another names, so just I type a Ajay and there are open bracket and close bracket. So these 10 define 10 another number in sequence manner. So just we use number integer. When we use integer, just one type of data we can define, but we have a many large number, like there are many marks in science I obtain in midterm, in end term, in between term. There are many type of evaluation part, but we have different kind of data type we use in science. And there are some numbers 10, 20, 30, 40. So these numbers we can include in a single term, that called a array. So array is a data type which includes sequencing manner for initializing any space in the memory. Just knowing there are first element, there are last element. Numbers here is name of array. When we use in our programming array, just define array and array name and the number. Here we use numbers as a array name, and the bracket part is called a element of that array. Like there are 10 numbers, so we use array name of number and we input that number in 10 and equal to. There are many type of array, one dimensional and two dimensional, so we can understand that easily. So next slide we define a array is a data structure, means array use data but in a bulk manner and collection of values or element of same data type. There is no different. When we use array, the data types of that name is equal. There the name of the data types, there is no differences like this is integer, this is float, this is string. No, there is same data type. These values are stored in contiguous means when we allot the memory for the array, the memory for the same, like we start step from 1, so the continuous 10 step for that array, not one space for one part, two second part for another space. No, there is continuous manner. Which mean we start sitting in a classroom, so first row completed start from first sitting. No first sitting for another person, last sitting for second person. No, in a sequence manner we obtain their data type. And access, when we write the code we use that array, but after that compilation, after that run, we use this number for accessing part. So We just inputting in this manner, just knowing that this is a type of array definition. First element like that and last like element like that. There are dot means there are numbers in a another manner. They are not completed yet. It is last number of array. How we can declare a array? Just use type of array, integer type of array, and my name of that array is my array, and size of that array means 5. So we understand that this array name my array can store 5 values, and these values are same data type. That name is integer. Integer means there is only numbers when we can use. There is no float number, means we can't use floating number like decimal number. We can't use here any name, any character, any string. This the declaration means when we start the code and we use array in our code, then the definition of that array defined like that. Integer means the data type of that array is integer, and the array name is my array, and the values of that array is mean there are 5 values can be used in that array. So initializing way, set the initial value of the element in the array. You can initialize the array during declaration or later in the program. For example, to initialize, here we initialize the 5, my array name, and there is values of 5. These values are also called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 during declaration. There are many syntax. There are like that. We just use some values, more values. So we use array. And when can we use array? When we had same data type, like there are integer data type, all the 5 numbers are integer, so we use integer. If we use any decimal number here, just 1.5, then we use this my array as a float. How can we access these element in our programming? There are declaration like integer variable. Var means there is a variable equal to number 9. Mean this variable have a array that name is number, and that had values of 9. 9 means there are 9 different values, but these values are same data type, which is integer data type. An element is accessed by indexing the array name. Why we use array? We use a different indexing. When we use array, we initialize the indexing part. Index means the front page of any book. We index the chapter 1 is that part, chapter 2 is that part, and chapter 1 is starting from 0 to 9 page. So 0 to 9 page is a like a array. When we chapter name is programming concept, so programming concept is conclude in 0 to 9 page. So we use array. Programming conclude, or programming conclude is a integer type and head 0 to 9 pages. Above statement, we take the 10th element from the array and assign the value to version. Okay? Structure, there are different another type of structure. Structure mean we had different type of data type. When we use same data type, we use array. When we have different data type, means we have names, we have numbers, so we use structure data type. Structures are a way of grouping related data type items of a different type under a single unit. So the line is defined already. There are different type of data types. One include in character, one another data type include a number, another data type use a string. So there are grouping, but same kind of structure means is, I just below the example there are definition how we use structure. So struct keyword used for structure, and structure name, which mean we use there a class. I include here BCA. So that data types, when I use integer student name, there are student name means integer type of student name. I include a structure. Then different student age, it include the numbers. So we use different data type, but they relate in some kind of manner. That kind of part is include a structure. There are also another data type we just learn after that structure, it union. Union and structure are same. We use union and structure at that time, but union is more efficient. that we'll learn in next some part. So don't mind it. Structured, just knowing that we have same kind of same data type, we use array. We had same but different data type, same type of element, but they have different data type. We use structured or union, and we define that which task can be complete our operation. So use that, like we use less memory, we use union. We need more memory, so that we use structure. So there are example of structure. Structure here is the example of employee. So employee have their names, employee have their salary. So salary can be in decimal format, like 10,000 and 500 0.20, so that we use float keyword here. And struct keyword for structure, employees structure name, and this is the initializing statement, integer id. Id means we initialize that employee id. Id is type of data type integer. There are character name. Name means the employee have a name. These names are writing in character. We use array, name of name. So 20, the value of that name. We can write a name in that column which input 20 character length. There are definition. Only 20 character we can use in a this name. So there are definition of 20. Float salary. Salary may be in decimal format, in integer format we can use. So there is a declaration of that structure. We use integer id in int, so that define kind of that memory. When we use character name, here we use 20, but here we use 10. So that 10 type, 10 spaces included for name. Also there is salary part. So salary part of float, so that use these. There here are the some numbers: 1000, 1004, 1014. It is logical part, means it is about memory locations where our program is running. Our programming running in RAM. So when we allotting these name in RAM, so they confirm a memory location. That memory location is find through the pointer. We use pointer after that. So this is the address of that your name starting from, and where your salary is confirmed, where salary values are inserting in that spaces. So these are the memory representation. Memory representation means RAM. All kind of running program are running in RAM, random access memory. So random access memory allocating them a memory spaces, and that memory spaces define the value of that data types. So there are some definitions how the structure can be declared. There are the struct keyword for using for structure, and there are data type of different type. There are integer, character, and float. But we learn in array same data type. So we, if we had different data type of same kind of data, same grouping, so employee is same, but employees variables, employee data are different. Their id is different, their name is different, their salary is different, but we can use grouping of that. So these are the structure of a any structure. So there are a example for that. We can id, we can elaborate that employee from, and the name is e1, e2, e3. So we can group e1 to many events, not just one employee. We can use here from that code many employees, thousand or many employees, one to many. There is no limits, but we start the structure like that. This is the one way. So second term, we learn union. Union also the composite type. Composite means there are mix up of data types, like structured. Structure also had different data type. You can just learn that integer or character. But in this structure, the space for memory, the space for this data type is allocating in different manner. For integer, just back when we initializing the name of employee in 50, but in union we had many data types. but allocating them a memory space of maximum size of a data type. But in union, there is limitation. We only occupied space during the compile time and initializing one by one. There is different, but when we use structure, when allocating space for these type of data type, it allow to occupy all kind of these entities at that compilation time. But in union, only one at a time. If we start here character name, in union only name spaces are allocating first. After that we allocating for salary. But in a structured, all the data types, all the structured data type allocating the space at that compile time once, not every time. And second difference is maximum size of space allocating in union, but in a structure, different kind of storage, different kind of space initializing for different kind of data type. There is that difference. No other difference in structure and union. There is also a difference between structure and union. Structure use struct and union use union. So unions are composite data type that allow the storage or different data type of the same memory location. It is similar. I also explained that it is similar to a structure, but instead of all members occupying different memory location, only one member at a time can occupy the memory location. So that it is differ from structure only kind of the memory spaces and the occupying memory location only one. When we start structured, so we can learn about that two different type. There are a data type and b data type. A data type is type of integer and b data type of character. In structured, both data type can allot the memory spaces at the same time, but in union, the in a data type is allocating space in another time, and secondary character b define the space for allocating the data type on that time. And maximum, which one is which maximum, that spaces first allocated. When we use in C, C++, you can understand betterly. This time is you only knowing that these term are using in any programming language. Whenever we learn these C, C++, you easily learn the structure, how can be used, how union can be used. We just knowing this term in any principle, any programming languages follow these principle. We all the topics, all the unit are defining any programming language which use these type of the definitions. There are unions, there are data types are many definitions. There are primitive data type, there are secondary data type, there are structured data type, there are union data type. So we use all these kind of in any language in future, not now. Just we are learning the principles of any languages, we can inputting that in our programming. The syntax of declaring a union is similar to declaring a structure. Just union keyword is used for union and struct keyword used for structure. The size of the union is equal to the size of its largest member. This is the biggest difference between structured and keyword. In structured, all the members have different type of space, but in union, only one, only largest member use the equal size of data. So there are examples. How can we declare a union with the help of keyword union? There are name of union is ABC. Here the two type of data members, which one is A and B. These are defined by their data types, integer and character. There are, we use variable var keyword used for variable. Variable means this is a object, and we when we write a code, this is example of C language. So there are using integer main here. Main is when we use, when we learn the C languages, so there we learn about how C language is write, how the any program in write in C languages. So this is the structure of C program, and when we use the union in C program, so there are these declaration of that code. We can, where we use var.a, it is type of any languages, how they performing, how they including the statement. So these all are the operations. So we just need to know how union is defined, with not just learning the C languages. There are many other languages, they use union in different kind of manner. So just an example, we just see how the union is processed in any language. Here the C languages, the use of union in C languages. Deciding the size of union. The size of union is based on the size of largest member of the union. So there are many members, but if any one of them is required many, in all members, any member have largest size, so that union is defining that space for all the kind of member, not for just one. It is initializing of maximum size of the member. In structure, they allocating space for different type of spaces. So the wastage of spaces, wastage of memory is a problem of structure, but in union the space, the memory use, it is optimized. Here is the example. There are differentiation between union and structure. While a structure is collection of variable of different data type, union is a variable that can hold variable of different data type, but only one variable at a time. So this is the key differences. Memory efficiency. I already defined that union is much lesser use of memory, but a structure is allocating for same memory for all the member, but in union maximum size of that memory part used for a data type, a data member. No, union is same. Union structure all are same. The uses of union, the structure of union. Abhay Kumar, can the variable change later after structure is declared and initialized? No. There is no changes. Structured already defined, but this is the dynamic way. So we can input the structured, input the instruction at dynamic time. So we can declare at that time, but initialize after in a static manner also and dynamic manner also. When we use in C, there are limitation in C. We can use union and structured in static way, but in any other language there are also some kind of access that can make changes all the initialized time also. Memory efficiency, union can be more memory efficient than structured. Memory efficiency much better in union than structure. There are also defined this union can be more memory efficient than structured because they share the same memory location for all the member in structure, but only once union occupied for maximum size of member. Type conversion means type define head data type. We use integer and we use character, but we want to change integer to character. So this type of conversion is called a type conversion. Since union can hold variable of different data type, it is possible to convert between these data type accessing the same memory location. This can be useful in some cases, but it can also be dangerous if not done carefully. So there are some limitations. When we use type conversion, they define in different way in any other languages. So just knowing that there are problematic part if we cannot use in a proper manner. So we just knowing that there are type conversion in any programming languages we use in further like C, C++. Just knowing that there are some terms for that. Padding. Union can sometimes have padding bytes inserted between memory ensure that each member is aligned on a word boundary. This can affect the size of the union and how it is represented is in memory. Padding means the boundary. When we allot a memory for a employee name 20, but when any employee name have increased the name in runtime, so that is the padding boundary, the padding limitation is also dangerous means it also uh, creating problem of our code and our operations for that code. Common use union are often used in low level programming and embedded system where memory efficiency is important. So the embedded system, we all know any system which have their system programming like a projector have some kind of space, some kind of memory that already define in integrated system, and all that time they initialize same program that time, so their space, their memory part is needed just very less. So the common use of union in low level programming, low level means only machine level programming use unions like C defining the device drivers. So device drivers are writing in the level languages, which mean machine only understand low level languages. So low level programming, also called a machine level programming. They can also be used to represent different data type in single variable or to access hardware registered in a system. Register also a memory, the fastest memory. The processor is built from the many register, millions of register. So register is a electronic system. So just the knowing the concept of type equivalence, type checking, type conversion, we also learn the concept of array, how that is structured and what structured use, how the array use. So all these terms we just learn in this session. We just start a discussion, and this discussion is in only Hindi. So you can write your questions in chat box. I will answer in Hindi. So start from now. Anybody have any query? Please write on chat. I know all these topic are theoretical. सब कुछ theory वाला है. So it's all about, जैसे कि अपन जब भी कोई भी लैंग्वेजेस सीखेंगे, C++, जावा, पाइथन, पर्ल, LISP, many type of languages when start coding. But यस मैं बता रहा हूँ अभय कुमार, यूनियन और स्ट्रक्चर, दीज आर द टर्म्स, दीज आर द डेटा टाइप्स. अपन कोई भी प्रोग्रामिंग जब कोड करेंगे, जैसे कि आप अभी जूम सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहे हो, तो जूम सॉफ्टवेयर जब अपन यूज करेंगे तो जूम में लाइब्रेरीज होगी, जूम के लिए अपन कोड लिखेंगे, तो कोड लिखने के लिए अपन के पास अलग अलग डेटा टाइप्स होंगे. जैसे कि आप लोगों को, आपको फोन नंबर इंसर्ट करना है, तो फोन नंबर इन अपन किस में यूज करेंगे, नंबर्स में. तो नंबर्स को डेटा टाइप में अपन जब जस्टिफाई करेंगे तो इनको अपन बोलेंगे इट इज इंटीजर. इंटीजर नंबर सिस्टम आपने पढ़ा होगा, तो इंटीजर क्या होता है, फ्लोट नंबर, लाइक अपन वैल्यूज इंसर्ट करेंगे जैसे 1.01. सो दिस टर्म कॉल्ड फ्लोट नंबर. सो हाउ अपन इनको कैसे डिफाइन करेंगे, ये फ्लोटिंग नंबर है. तो डेसिमल नंबर्स को अपन को प्रोग्रामिंग में डिफाइन करने के लिए जब मशीन अंडरस्टैंड करेगी, तो वो जस्ट नोइंग दिस इज फ्लोट नंबर. फ्लोट इज लाइब्रेरी पार्ट. जब अपन डेटा टाइप्स पढ़ रहे हैं तो अपने पास कीवर्ड्स है, जो फिक्स कीवर्ड है 20-30, हर एक लैंग्वेजेस में लिमिटेशंस है. लैंग्वेज राइट करने के लिए लैंग्वेज का कंपाइलर होना चाहिए, लैंग्वेज का सॉफ्टवेयर होता है, तो वो सॉफ्टवेयर डिफाइन करता है कि किस टर्म को अपन यूज करते हैं. तो कोई भी लैंग्वेज अपन सीखेंगे, कोई भी लैंग्वेज आगे जाके अपन उसमें कोड लिखेंगे, सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप करेंगे या कोई वेबसाइट डेवलप करेंगे, तो उनकी लिमिटेशंस है, उनकी बाउंड्रीज है. सी में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, C++ में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, तो अपन जस्ट नोइंग कि वो प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हो सकती है, और हर एक प्रॉब्लम के लिए किस प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज ने क्या प्रिंसिपल बनाए, और अपन सबको ओवरऑल सीख रहे हैं कि अपन यहाँ पे सीख रहे हैं कि कौन कौन से डेटा टाइप यूज होते हैं। मैंने बताया इंटीजर होता है, फ्लोट होता है, कैरेक्टर होता है, स्ट्रिंग होता है। जैसे कैरेक्टर में आपका, जैसे मेरा नाम है AJY, तो जस्ट अपन इसको ब्रेक करते हैं ए, तो वी जस्ट नोइंग दैट ए मीन्स दिस इज ए कैरेक्टर। व्हेन स्टार्ट इनपुटिंग नेम, मैं मेरा नाम इंसर्ट करना चाहता हूं एक साथ, तो उसके लिए अपन को कैरेक्टर यूज नहीं करना है। उसके लिए अपन को अलग से एक प्रोग्रामिंग में एक फीचर दिया हुआ है, या आप कीवर्ड बोल लो या उसको डेटा टाइप बोलो, वो आपका क्या कहलाएगा, स्ट्रिंग। सो स्ट्रिंग क्या है, वो उसको डिफाइन करने के लिए कि आपको बल्क में नाम लेना है, अजय लेना है, अजय चौधरी लेना है, आपका अभय कुमार लेना है, तो कंप्लीट नेम को आप इंसर्ट करोगे, तो आप कैरेक्टर यूज करोगे तो उसको गलत तरीके से ट्रांसलेट करेगा। तो उसके लिए आपको प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट फॉलो करना पड़ेगा, और वही आपका क्या कहलाता है, उस प्रोग्रामिंग का प्रिंसिपल कहलाता है। तो अपन को अगर किसी का पूरा नाम लेना है तो उसके लिए अपन को स्ट्रिंग कीवर्ड यूज करना है। अगर अपन को किसी के लिए ग्रुपिंग लेनी है, जैसे मैंने स्ट्रक्चर्ड और यूनियन लिया, अब मैंने मैंने अलग अलग नेम लूंगा तो मेरा कोड बहुत लेंथी हो जाएगा। किसी ने बोला था कि सर ऑप्टिमाइजेशन क्या होता है, कोड को इन शॉर्ट लिखना है, कम से कम लाइन में आपका कोड हो और कम से कम वो मेमोरी यूज करे। जैसे कि आप बहुत सारे एप्लीकेशन प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड करते हो, लेकिन उनका फीचर्स बहुत वाइड है, लेकिन आप लिमिटेड वहां 12 MB में आपने कोई सॉफ्टवेयर डाउनलोड कर लिया, बट उसका जो डेप्थ है वो बहुत सारा है। तो उसको अपन को अंडरस्टैंड करना है, और उसके लिए बेटर लैंग्वेज कौन सी है वो अपन को डेवलप करनी है। तो अपन सभी लैंग्वेज के ओवरऑल प्रिंसिपल फाइंड कर रहे हैं कि कौन सी लैंग्वेज में कौन सा प्रिंसिपल फॉलो होगा। बट सभी लैंग्वेज में कौन कौन से प्रिंसिपल फॉलो होते हैं, कौन कौन से डेटा यूज होते हैं। अब अपन ने किसी में यूज कर लिया नंबर, और नंबर को अपन को ट्रांसलेट करना है फ्लोट में। आपके पास सेकंड नंबर आ गया 1.5, बट आपके पास उसको यूज किया हुआ था वन ओनली इंटीजर, सो आपको प्रॉब्लम होगी। लेकिन अगर आप उसको C++ में ट्रांसलेट करना चाहोगे तो आपकी वहां प्रॉब्लम के लिए कुछ बाउंड्रीज मैक्स मैक्स है, वहां पे कुछ ज्यादा आपको ऑप्शंस है, तो वही लिमिटेशंस अपन पढ़ेंगे। तो अपन स्ट्रक्चर और यूनियन में डिफरेंस देख रहे थे। स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, जब आपको पूरी ग्रुपिंग करनी है, तो मैंने कहा कि एक कंपनी में एम्प्लॉय है, 1000 एम्प्लॉय है, और एम्प्लॉय के पास डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ आईडी है, और डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ नेम है, और उनके पास अलग अलग टाइप की सैलरी है, लेकिन है क्या, वो है एक एम्प्लॉय का डेटा। तो अपन को उस ग्रुपिंग के लिए अलग अलग से कीवर्ड नहीं यूज लेना है, अलग अलग से अपन 50 लाइनें लेके उसके लिए अपन एक नया तरीका निकाला जिसको अपन ने बोल दिया स्ट्रक्चर। और स्ट्रक्चर में क्या करेंगे, एक किसी पर्सन की एक को ऑब्जेक्ट बनाएंगे, ऑब्जेक्ट क्या हो गया, एम्प्लॉय, और उसके लिए अपने ऑब्जेक्ट आईडी क्रिएट कर लेंगे E1 E2। तो जैसे ही अपन E1 करेंगे तो E1 के साथ आ जाएगा E1 एक एम्प्लॉय का डेटा, और उसमें अपने E1 डॉट नेम करेंगे तो उसका नेम आ जाएगा, E1 डॉट उसका सैलरी करेंगे तो उसका सैलरी। जब आप कोड लिखोगे तो बहुत समझ में आएगा। लेकिन अरे में क्या होगा कि आपके पास, मैंने कहा कि प्लेयर है, जैसे इंडिया टीम में प्लेयर है 11, तो मैंने क्या, इंडिया टीम और उसके पास प्लेयर है वो आपके पास, और मैंने उसको आगे इंक्लूड कर लिया कि स्ट्रिंग। तो आपके पास जब नाम इंक्लूड करोगे तो एक साथ आप इनपुट में कितने नाम लिख सकते हो, 10 नाम। आपने 20 वैल्यू दी है उस अरे की, तो 20। बट अरे में प्रॉब्लम यह है कि उसके पास जितने भी नाम आएंगे वो या तो कैरेक्टर होंगे, या इंटीजर होंगे, या फ्लोट होंगे, सेम होंगे, डिफरेंट नहीं हो सकते। अगर ये प्रॉब्लम आपके पास डिफरेंट तरीके से आई कि मेरे प्लेयर है, उनके नाम किसी का किसी लैंग्वेज में, किसी का किसी में, किसी का उन्होंने नोटेशन कर रखा है कि किसी को नेम में उन्होंने बता रखा है, किसी को उन्होंने डेसिमल में बता रखा है, तो आपको अलग टाइप का क्या लेना पड़ेगा, डेटा टाइप, जिसको अपन स्ट्रक्चर बोलेंगे। अब आपने कहा कि सर इसमें भी प्रॉब्लम है, स्ट्रक्चर में क्या हुआ कि प्रॉब्लम यह है कि जब आप नाम लोगे तो वहां पे आपने एक नाम के लिए दे दिया कि अजय का नाम है वो 20 लेंथ में आएगा, अजय की सैलरी 50 लेंथ में आएगी, और अजय का जो एज है वो जस्ट 5 में आ जाएगा। तो आपने जैसे ही रन किया, प्रोग्राम कंपाइल किया, तो वो क्या करेगा, रैम में उतना उतना स्पेस छोड़ देगा, लेकिन मेरा नाम जस्ट 4 स्पेस में कंप्लीट हो रहा है, और बाकी जो 16 जो स्पेस है वो आपके वेस्टेज आ रहे हैं। उस प्रॉब्लम से ओवरकम करने के लिए आपने क्या किया, यूनियन यूज कर लिया। यूनियन में क्या हुआ कि आपका नेम की साइज 20 थी, सैलरी की साइज 25 थी, और आपका कुछ और है उसमें आपकी 50 थी, तो वो क्या करेगा, मैक्सिमम साइज अलॉट कर देगा 50, और 50 में आपका नाम भी आ जाएगा, आपकी सैलरी भी आ जाएगी आपका। तो इसमें क्या है कि आपका स्पेस वेस्टेज या मेमोरी वेस्टेज होने के चांसेस कम होंगे। और ऐसा क्यों करते हैं, क्योंकि आपका रैम है वो 4 GB 6 GB एक लिमिटेड साइज होता है, और आपका प्रोग्राम का जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो हाई होता है, उसको बहुत सारा स्पेस चाहिए होता है, और उस स्पेस को अपन को क्या करना है, कम से कम यूज करना है। उसी को अपन क्या बोलते हैं, स्पेस यूटिलाइजेशन और मेमोरी यूटिलाइजेशन। समझ में आया, अपन जस्ट रीड कर रहे हैं कि क्या मैं आप जस्ट टाइप कीजिए। चलो मैं आपका माइक ऑन करता हूँ, अनम्यूट कर रहा हूँ। किसी को प्रॉब्लम है तो आप अनम्यूट करके, अभय कुमार कैन यू? यस।
हाँ सर। तो
यस।
ये मेरा यूनियन में ये समझना मैं चाह रहा था कि जब स्पेस यूटिलाइजेशन होता है, आपने बोला था कि कैरेक्टर मतलब जो सबसे बड़ा चीज है उसके हिसाब से मेमोरी असाइन होगा।
ठीक है।
तो मेमोरी जैसे आपने एग्जांपल दिया था, आपका नाम अजय, तो
हम्म।
उसमें मतलब मान लीजिए जब 5 कैरेक्टर है पर 50 कैरेक्टर का मेमोरी ऑलरेडी असाइंड है। तो
ठीक है।
इसमें मेमोरी यूटिलाइजेशन ज्यादा मतलब वेस्टेज ज्यादा हो रहा है ना? इसमें
स्ट्रक्चर में क्या होता
ऑप्टिमम।
है कि जैसे आपके पास मेंबर है, स्ट्रक्चर कीवर्ड यूज किया आपने, एम्प्लॉय यूज किया, वहां आपने अलग अलग मेंबर यूज किए, आपने उसकी सैलरी को, तो वो क्या करता है सबके लिए डिफरेंट स्पेस यूज करेगा। लेकिन यूनियन में क्या करेगा कि जो मैक्सिमम है उसको वो डिफाइन करेगा। मैक्सिमम मतलब जब आपके पास अलग अलग है, किसी को 20 चाहिए, किसी को 25 चाहिए, किसी को 50 चाहिए, तो वो वहां क्या करेगा, मैक्सिमम टाइप वाला है वो यूज कर लेगा।
हाँ सर, तो जब हम
उसके
लोग
बाद में भी प्रॉब्लम है। मैं अंडरस्टैंड आपका क्या पॉइंट है, वो भी समझ में आ रहा है कि अगर सर उससे भी एक्सीड हुआ तो वो यूनियन की प्रॉब्लम, फिर आपको किस में आना पड़ेगा, स्ट्रक्चर में। अगर आपकी प्रॉब्लम यूनियन के कंपाइलेशन में जा रही है तो आप यूनियन यूज करोगे। आपको लग रहा है कि यूनियन यूनियन अपने लिए फुलफिल नहीं कर रहा है, देन अपन क्या करेंगे, स्ट्रक्चर। इसलिए दोनों अलग अलग डिफरेंट है।
ओके।
जब आप सी सीखोगे, वहां यूनियन और स्ट्रक्चर का कोड लिखोगे तो आपको इजीली समझ में आ जाएगा। आपको बस अभी ये करना है कि स्ट्रक्चर कैसे यूज करते हैं डिफरेंट डेटा टाइप के लिए। सेम डेटा टाइप के लिए आपने क्या पढ़ा है, कौन सा प्रिंसिपल, सेट होगा, अरे होगा।
अरे।
और
अरे।
डिफरेंट के लिए कौन सा होगा, स्ट्रक्चर्ड और यूनियन होगा। जब आप स्ट्रक्चर लिखोगे, जब आप यूनियन लिखोगे, फिर आप उस प्रोग्राम को रन करोगे तो आपको उसका डिफरेंस पता चलेगा। अभी आपको वर्बली कुछ नहीं चलेगा कि मैंने कंसेप्ट होता है जस्ट, जो अपना सब्जेक्ट है इसमें अपन को इतना ही समझना है कि अपन को ये चीजें आपके प्रोग्रामिंग में काम में आएगी। जब आप उसको
तो
यूज करोगे तो वो कैसे डिफरेंट एक्ट करती है, वो उसी टाइम आप उसको कैलकुलेट कर पाओगे। अभी मैं कोड आपको राइट करके अगर मैं कंपाइल कर पाता, क्योंकि आपकी वो है नहीं, जस्ट आपको नोइंग करना है कि आपकी ये सब चीजें इंक्लूडेड होगी किसी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में। जैसे आपका सेकंड सेमेस्टर होगा, या आप सी सीख रहे हो, थर्ड सेमेस्टर में आपकी सी नहीं है, आप सी को पीपीएल के साथ सीखोगे या सी प्लस प्लस सीखोगे तो वहां वो यूज करोगे। देन आपको ऑटोमेटिकली अंडरस्टैंड हो जाएगा कि सर ने ये बताया था कि डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ जो डेटा मेंबर है, अब आपको मैक्सिमम जो मेमोरी है वो कैसे अलॉट करनी है।
ओके ओके, ठीक है।
ओके।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
रोहित बताइए।
सो यूनियन होता क्या है?
यूनियन डेटा टाइप होता है। जैसे
डेटा
इंटीजर होता
टाइप।
है ना, आपने जैसे नंबर लिया, कोई आपने नाम लिखा, तो
यस
नाम
सर।
लिखने के लिए आपको क्या यूज करना पड़ेगा, आपको स्ट्रिंग यूज करना
डेट
पड़ेगा। आपको कोई
जी।
कैरेक्टर लिखना है तो उसके लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, क्या करना पड़ेगा,
यूनियन का यूज।
CHAR, केर आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, वो
अच्छा हाँ।
आपको यूज
यस
करना
सर।
पड़ेगा। अगर आपको
यस।
बहुत सारे एलिमेंट एक साथ यूज करने हैं तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, स्ट्रक्चर यूज करना पड़ेगा। ये सभी डेटा टाइप्स है। आप ऑपरेशन करोगे, मैंने कहा कि आप क्या करोगे, एवरेज करोगे, तो एवरेज की वैल्यू आपको किस में चाहिए, इंटीजर में चाहिए, कि कोई नंबर नहीं आए कि मेरा जब
इंटीजर
सम
में।
हो तो केवल एक सिंगल वैल्यू में आ जाए। आपको चाहिए कि उसमें पॉइंट्स में, प्रिसिशन वैल्यू में चाहिए, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, उसको फ्लोट लेना पड़ेगा।
फ्लोट लेना पड़ेगा। यस
हाँ,
सर। यस सर।
तो फ्लोट, इंटीजर, कैरेक्टर, स्ट्रिंग,
ये सर
स्ट्रक्चर।
कितने होते हैं? सर 24 होते हैं ना? 24 या 28?
क्या चीज,
यही इंटीजर, फ्लोट, ये सब।
ये डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ है हर एक लैंग्वेज में। जैसे सी में 24 और 30 के अप्रोक्स होते हैं, सी प्लस
सी
प्लस
में
में और ज्यादा
24 ही है
होते
ना? सर सी में हम लोग को 24 ही पढ़ना है ना?
हैं। हाँ, सी आपके स्टार्ट
हाँ,
हो गई
थैंक
क्या?
यू सर।
ओके, तो अपन कंक्लूड करें,
क्या
मीटिंग
बात सर?
एंड।
हाँ यस सर।
ओके, थैंक यू ऑल। जाहिर, ओके जाहिर, बताइए जाहिर। हेलो।